Good morning traders and welcome to today's live trading. Today is Thursday the 25th of October and as usual we are on the FTSE 100. So just to run you through my morning analysis quickly, you can see it's 7:58. You can see we've got a band, a quite small band in the centre of the chart at 6925, and I've drawn two more in, one above at 6965 and one a little bit below at around the 6855 level, so there's actually quite a distance down to that band. As far as immediate trade setups go, I don't really have any. I would like to trade up to this band, but I'm just struggling to see a scenario in which I could do that. The reason being we are below the hourly ATMA as it stands, and we're a good distance below the 4-hour ATMA, and they both stand in the way of a move up to this band. So not too keen to trade into those, to be honest. So I think what might be more likely is a possible short from this band, or if we come down to this band quite quickly, there's a possibility of a long from there. We'll just have to see how price moves, I think. So we're opening in any second, so I will get ready and come back to you when I have some trade setups. So we're just coming up to 9:30 now, a little bit frustrating. We have had this move down from the open. We came back down, retested this low around today's S2. We've moved up from there into the band, not really had much of a reaction at the band, then we've broken through it, literally just taken out these highs, dropped back down into the band. I was looking for a potential buy signal and we just haven't got one. We've got this horrible doji candle here, and then price is carrying on its move upwards. It is annoying because there was a lot of good things about this trade. I know I said this morning that I wouldn't like to be trading between these two bands because of the upper time frame ATMAs. Well, if I show you the hourly quickly, you can see that this was 7, so that's when I was talking about it within this hour. We did get a test, and then within this last hour we've moved up through it, so the retest of that now is pushing the trade upwards on the hourly time frame, so that's a good confluence for the trade. And then if we come over to the 4-hourly, you can see that it's actually just starting to turn slightly upwards, the ATMA, because price is starting to come up now, so it probably would allow for at least a touch of that band, if not today at yesterday's close, the orange line. So the upper time frame analysis is almost pretty good. And then the 5-minute price action, add to that, we've got this move up, barely any reaction downwards, break above, quick retest of the band, and then go again. All of that's brilliant. You love to see that. The only thing I'm missing, the key ingredient that I'm missing, is obviously the signal that I can trade. I can't just jump into the market off of the back of a doji candle. It's not giving me any confluences for the direction that I want to trade in, so I just, there's nothing I can do with that. Excuse me. So unfortunately, I am still watching. If it does come up into this band, then there's definitely a potential for a sell up there. However, we do have ECB press conference and the main refinancing rate a little bit later on, around just after lunch, 12:45 and 1:30 p.m. I probably won't, I definitely won't be around this afternoon, so it'll just be what I managed to get done this morning. So anyway, I'll keep watching, and if I do get a trade, I will come back to you. Right, so we're 20 to 10 now. I am going to put a buy order in just above this previous candle. So it's got a high of 36.8, so I want to be in at 38. Pop that in now. Okay, so the buy order's in. Obviously, if it just starts coming down, or I get a better or even lower signal, then I will change the order to reflect that. But this signal is good enough. I know it's a hair's width from actually touching the band, but it's close enough, especially considering that today's S1 is just above there as well, and it's sort of, you can look at it as almost an extension of that level. So I'm more than happy with the candle. you can see that the candle itself is 9 points long. So with my stop and entry, where I'm looking at about 12 points of a stop loss there, and target wise we're just looking up towards the next band. There's about 17, 18 points up to there, but again with my the little bit of room that I give it before the band, and obviously the little bit of room that I give it above the signal to trigger, you're probably looking at up towards around 15 points by the time we get up to that level. So the risk to reward's okay. It's nothing outstanding or groundbreaking. It's just okay. But it's looking like we're going to get triggered into this trade. There we are. So what I'll do is I'll bring the ticket across so you can see it. If price does start moving up and we get up into this 200, 5-minute 200 level, then I am going to manage it quite closely. I don't want to see a test of this and a reaction there. If we start poking through it a little bit, then I'm going to be looking to take the profit. What is a possibility is that we sort of trundle sideways and the 200 actually comes down and almost meets price, and we could test that a lot lower, which wouldn't be ideal. I quite want to see price make this direct move. I don't want to see it thinking about it and chopping sideways. So we'll just have to see how it gets on. You can see it's moved quite well since breaking above the 5-minute ATMA. We've had a couple of retests of the ATMA, but no break, which is good to see, and obviously the signal there. So yeah, we'll see how it runs. I'll bring the ticket across. You might see me put the order in. If this ticket disappears, it's just me putting the order in. And yeah, we'll see how this one gets on. So you can see the trade is progressing nicely now. We're up at this 200. We had this spike through, and we just sat on the 200 now, testing it. And this is where really you've got to. This is where managing the trade becomes difficult. This is the point where, in a lot of trades you'll come to where you think, well, this is a good level where this trade could fail. And then it is possible to then start getting sort of agitated and nervous and snatch at the profits, basically, is what that leads to. When, in actual fact, I'm only at 7 or 8 points profit. And as I discussed before, I was looking more towards sort of 12 to 15 points profit to make the trade, the risk reward on the trade good. Now, some strategies might allow for 12 points risked, 8 to 10 taken if the win rate is really high. I actually covered this in a video just recently about your trading edge. So if you've not seen it, go check it out. But more than likely, you're going to have a success rate somewhere around 50%. Now it might be a little bit higher, 60%, or it might be a little bit lower, around 40%. It doesn't really matter, as I talk about in the video, what that percentage is, because that's just one part of your trading edge. The other part is obviously your risk-to-reward ratio. So as long as you're conscious of these two things when you're trading, then it's easier to make sure that you're abiding by what you need to abide by. So for example, if I know that my success rate's around about 60-ish%, then I know that I really need to be going for at least 1-to-1 to have a decent trading edge. So to take profit here now at like 8 points where it was a minute ago when it was just sat on the 200 would be foolish, because if I did that every time, I'm going to really impede my results, because I'm going to be taking profits when I'm going to be taking profits too early, for example at 8 points, when possibly, I don't know the outcome of this trade yet, I could be taking 12 or 15 points, which is going to have a huge impact, especially over a good amount of trades, on the overall profitability, of your performance. So that's how I found coping with points like this, is basically my point. When you come into a level like this where you're like, yeah, but I can see why price would turn here. Maybe I should just take the profits. I mean, they're there. I should just take them. It'd be foolish not to, because if I look back at this in 10 minutes time and it's rolled over and stopped me out, I'm going to be really annoyed. Well, yeah, you are going to be really annoyed, but but you shouldn't be. This is just one of those trades then that didn't work. So what? It doesn't matter if it comes within a point of your target. If it's a trade that doesn't work, it's just a trade that doesn't work. And I think that's how I found dealing with this kind of thing best, is that it doesn't really matter. For me, if I get in a trade and it rolls over straight away, or it comes 60% towards my target and rolls over, they're both the same thing. They're both a losing trade. It doesn't matter what the price did in between, triggering my entry and getting stopped out. Price will move up and down, and your brain will do the best to wind you up about its movement the best it can. So don't let it. Just look at it as, has it triggered me in? Right, here's my stop, here's my target. I don't really care what it does in between. It's going to get to one of these. And if it comes close to your target before taking your stop, so what? There's another trade around the corner, and at least you managed it well. That's the most important thing. I promise you that's the most important thing. Being able to manage your trades well over one 60% profit trade. If I had to pick between the two, it's a no-brainer. I want to be able to manage my trades well rather than snatching up profits when they're there. But I just thought it was fitting to talk about that now, because we've come up to this level. We've been here for 15 minutes now. Now, if you're staring at this, that can be really difficult. But like I say, you've just got to build that mindset that is like, well, and we'll see what happens. And we will see what happens here. I'm not going to be coming out of this trade until it's done one, come up or it's come down. The 200 was never the target. But that said, we're just poking through it now. You can see we do have this level across here. I wouldn't be surprised to see price come down and retest this level. If it is going to come down and then maybe bounce back upwards. Who knows? But because of the entry that we have got room for that. Alternatively, it might just come straight up, which would be decent. I could finish for today and crack on with some other stuff. So yeah, look, we're coming up to that 12-point market already. So I'm just going to keep my eye on this, and if it does spike up into there, I will be closing it. So I'll give it a little bit if it's going to do it while we're talking. 11.7. I'm going to pause it and come back to it. Obviously, Sod's Law will do it straight away as soon as I pause it, but it's looking good. Okay, so we're just coming towards the end of this candle. We're at 12 and a bit points. I just want to see how this candle's going to finish. Okay, 13 points. I think that's good enough. And the reason why I was just looking at this with a little bit of hesitation, because this is obviously the level that we identified before. But if we look at, let me bring the hourly chart up, I think that shows it best. You can see the level that we're coming into just now is just this swing here. So that added with the 200, you just got to be, sensible. The 200 was a little bit lower. We've not really passed it yet, but it's there. It's in consideration. We've had that sort of little run through the 200 like I was looking for, and just below the next band now, 13 points for a 12-point stop. Like I said, not fantastic risk to reward, but good enough. And yeah, that's a trade completed. So I know it doesn't seem a lot. You can look back at trades like this and think, well, you held for literally like another 5 points, but 5 points over many trades. If you're taking an extra 5 points on all your trades, that will add up significantly. So just bear that in mind. It's definitely a key worth developing. Even if over the next, say, 20 or 30 trades, you don't make any money or you lose a little bit of money, the skill that you will develop in being able to manage your trades well will more than pay for that. It's definitely worth developing that skill. Just taking yourself out of the situation, ignoring the sort of story that you're writing in the head about how prices, going to roll over at any minute, or it's going to come and take your stop at any minute. Just blot all that out and just look at the market objectively and say, well, is this really a place to come out of the trade, or am I just being silly? And then make your next decision. This has actually come right up into that band now, which is good to see. There's potentially maybe a short trade on later on. We're definitely into that 4-hour ATMA now. We're just ever so slightly poking through it. It was about the level that we got out of the trade, actually, the ATMA. But yeah, there we go. A good trade in the end, and hopefully one that I think you can take quite a lot of value from. That's something that I would have struggled with a lot in my early days, and I can honestly sit here and say that there was no trepidation within me, there was no anxiety within me. I was just watching a trade play out, and like I say, whether it won or lost, it wouldn't have really mattered to me. Now I'm not saying that had it lost I wouldn't be irritated. Of course I would be irritated, because it looked like it was going to make its way up there, and if it would have rolled over, of course it would have been irritating. You know, I'm only human. I'm not saying I block out these emotions and I don't feel them anymore. I definitely do. And some days I might have a loss that I find really quite frustrating, and I just have to, pack up and just say, it's not worth it today. I'm not really in the right frame of mind. I don't think I'm reacting well, to what's happening. And just take yourself out of that situation. But yes, thank you very much for watching. I'm going to stop rambling now. If you have enjoyed the video, please do consider leaving a like on it and subscribing to the channel. If you do enjoy the content, like I say, I do live trade videos. I try to do them every week, and other videos as well. The one I've just done is about a trading edge, and looking at how and why your strategy makes a profit, and then basically just talking more about how you can find out about your own trading edge. So give that a watch if it sounds interesting. But thanks again, and I'll see you next week.